Hello, Mastermind Gaming community, and I'll be coming at you here with another old school RuneScape video and a pretty extensive farming run guide. Now this farming run does take a little bit to do, so I don't recommend you do it every single day, and there's some parts of it that do take longer than one day to do. So what I recommend is you try to do this run about once every 4 days or so, just so you don't get completely burnt out and it doesn't take all your time up every single time you log in. You can just keep doing your herb runs or your urban hop runs every single day if you prefer to do that. However, just to do this full run, I would recommend doing it about every 4 days, so that way you can maximize the experience gains you're going to be able to get from this run. Now, to start off, you're actually going to be starting off in the farming guild itself. So right here in the farming guild, and what you're going to want to do is just make sure that you kind of complete all of your farming tasks that you need to do inside of the farming guild to start. So that means going around to all of the places that you can plant things, doing the contracts, and then depositing any seeds that you need into the seed vault. And then what you're going to want to do is go over to the bank chest, and you're going to want to get a pretty extensive inventory and equipment list out, and I'll be listing those here for you. So to start off, you're going to want to make sure in your equipment slots that you're going to want to have the Ardoin cloak. That's just going to be able to teleport to the patch easily. For a headpiece, if you have the graceful piece, it's recommended that you do wear that. For the necklace, you're going to want to have a dig site amulet. Your weapon that you're going to want to have is the magic secateurs. Your chest is also going to be graceful. Your offhand is going to be the chronicle, and then your legs are going to be graceful. You don't need any type of gloves. The boots of lightness or graceful boots are recommended if you have those. And then also for a ring, you're going to want to have the Lumbridge ring on. So once you have the explorer's ring and all that kind of stuff on, what you're going to want to do is have a pretty extensive inventory list as well. So you're going to be starting off with a trowel, seed dipper, spade, and rake. And then you're going to want to have your allotment seeds and your hop seed and your herb seeds. Just get however many that you have with you at the time. If you want to try to be more exact, you can kind of learn how many you're going to need and then just kind of base it on that, so you can kind of free up more inventory space as the run progresses. And then what you're going to want to have is you're going to want to have 5 tree saplings, 4 fruit tree saplings, 3 hardwood tree saplings, and then you're going to want payments. So you're going to want to have noted payments for the fruit trees, noted payments for the regular trees, noted payments for the hardwood trees, and then also noted payments for your hops. After which, you're going to want to make sure that you also have Ectofile, teleports to house, and then a pretty decent cash stack. It doesn't have to be anything massive. 10k will do. However, I just like to carry around a little bit more than that, just so I kind of have it on me. And the only other thing to note for the entire farming run is that if you do not have a high construction level, such as me, who only has 52 construction, if you don't have a high enough construction level, what I do recommend is that you actually do get into the house party world. So if you actually hop over here, I'm in world 330 right now. So if you actually go to 330 as the house party world for the US, and then you can actually just use someone else's house for the benefits that it's going to bring to you. Now, whenever I'm doing this run, I'm actually not going to be planting or actually checking anything. This is just due to the fact that this video is going to be sort of a longer video anyways, and it's going to cut down on the time for me to have to explain everything, so you guys don't have to watch me actually do the actual run entirely. I'm just going to walk you through what you need to do, and then you can actually just follow along yourself and then do the farming run along with me. So like I said, to start off, we're going to be starting at the farming guild. Just complete all your contracts and deposit your seed rewards, and then withdraw all the items that I just listed for you. So after this, you're actually going to want to be teleporting to the dig site. So we're going to be going to the fossil island. And once we're here at the fossil island, you can just run up north to the magic mush tree. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be teleporting to number 4, Mushroom Meadow. Once you're here at Mushroom Meadow, you're going to run to the southeast a little bit to the 3 hardwood tree locations. So the 3 hardwood trees here are going to be a big chunk of the experience you're going to get for this entire run. They do take about 4 days to grow, so it is recommended that whenever you need to do this farm run, that you do it about every 4 days, like I said, just to kind of help maximize the experience gain that you're able to get from this run. So you actually just go here, and you can see there's mahogany saplings that I've already planted, and then you're actually, each one of the squirrels guards over a certain patch. You can see 3 squirrels here that represent the 3 patches. So all you're going to want to do is just rake away, get all the reeds out if you haven't yet, and then plant your saplings, and then come over here and actually pay them for the protection of these trees. And once you've done that, the next step that you're going to actually be using is going to be using your first home teleport. So you're actually going to be going to your house, and if you do have the high enough construction level, you can do this all within your house. But if not, like me, you're actually going to be going to the house party world and using someone else's house. So now that we're here in someone else's house, we're going to just be running down to their teleportation nexus, and then what you're going to be wanting to go to is you're going to be wanting to go to Lumbridge. Once you're here at Lumbridge, you're going to run west, and then once you've planted those 3 mahogany saplings, you're going to have empty pots in your inventory. It is recommended that you do drop those empty pots, as they're not worth anything really, 2 GP I think, or 1 GP. Just go ahead and drop them so you can free up the inventory space that you're going to need later for whenever you're harvesting your seeded plants. So you're going to find your first actual hardwood, or not hardwood tree, but regular tree here. And then what you're going to want to do is just go ahead and get rid of the weeds, plant your willow tree. And if you've already done that, then actually just pay them to cut it down. So you can actually pay these people here to actually chop your tree down for you. It'll cost about 200 gold pieces for them to actually chop down the tree for you. After which you can actually just replant the tree and then pay them to protect it. You have to make sure that you always pay them to protect it, because these are very long growth times, anywhere from 2 to 4 days to grow these trees. So you do not want them to die during that process, because it might get diseased or something while you're logged out of the game, and you definitely don't want that to happen. So it's always recommended that you always pay for all these protections. So now that we've got that taken care of, you're actually going to be teleporting back to the house again, and then we're going to be going to Varrock. So I'm just going to be hopping out of my own house, going to my friend's house here. And then just run down to their teleportation nexus. If you do have the higher enough, or have the high enough construction level, it is a little bit faster. However, it's not really that much faster, I don't think, to justify the cost of needing the high construction level at this point in my the RuneScape journey that I'm going on. Anyways, once you teleport to Varrock, you're going to want to run northeast like I am right now, and you're going to find another normal tree patch that I've planted a willow tree in. Just make sure, like I said before, that you always make sure that you pay to cut it down if you already have one there. And then you're going to actually just rinse and repeat, just plant the tree, pay to make sure it's protected. And then after that, you're going to be teleporting back to your house one more time. And then where we're going to be going next is we're going to be going to Falador. And the reason that you have to use house teleports is because, as you saw at the beginning of this run, and you can see right now in my inventory, since I haven't planted any of the trees myself, so that I don't have the inventory space, that you just don't have the inventory space to actually have all these different teleports. So being able to just teleport to your house and only it taking one slot, but being able to access pretty much the entire part of the game is very beneficial to have, and to be able to do this farm run effectively. So you're just going to run east once you teleport to Falador, and then you'll see another tree patch over here, and then you're going to just go ahead and do the same thing that you've been doing before, where you're actually just going to make sure you plant the tree, make sure it's protected, and all that good stuff. After this, you're going to teleport back to your house again, but instead of actually teleporting to anything, instead of going to the teleportation nexus, we're actually going to be using one of the trees, the spirit trees. So this part of it does require that you have the tree gnome quest line kind of partially finished, because you do need access to the spirit trees, and if you don't have access to them, this is one of the parts that you can just kind of skip over until you've completed them, and then you can come back and start adding these in as well. So you're going to want to teleport to the tree gnome stronghold first, and then you're going to run just directly east, and you're going to see another tree plant here. It's going to be a fruit tree. It's going to be one of your first fruit trees, and in terms of experience, the fruit trees do get the second best in terms of trees. The worst are actually just the regular trees, like the oak, willow. Those kind of trees are actually the worst trees for experience. So it's not, I mean, they are good to do, but they aren't nearly as beneficial as the other ones. The fruit trees, like papayas here, are going to be given about 6,000, and mahoganies, the hardwood trees that we did at Fossil Island, are going to be the best. Mahoganies give about 15,000 per tree, so it is extremely beneficial, whereas, say for example, the willows only give about 1,300, so there is a pretty big difference in terms of experience. So once you've run to both these tree patches here in the Tree Gnome Stronghold, you're actually going to want to run back up to the Spirit Tree. Now it's up to you. If you do have the high enough construction level and you have a Spirit Tree in your house, it might be a little bit faster to teleport back to your house to actually get back to the Spirit Tree. However, it's such a short walk, I just prefer to walk back up, and you're actually going to be traveling to the Tree Gnome Village now. So once you go to the Tree Gnome Village, there's going to be a couple more trees, and all you have to do is just run to the southwest. And once you run to the southwest, you're going to see loose railing that you can squeeze through, and then you can just follow Elkway and he'll take you out of the maze and pretty much right there in front of the other tree patch. So we're going to make sure we follow him. He's going to guide us out of the maze. Then you try to run a little bit to the southwest and you'll find your next tree patch. Just make sure that you're always just planting your trees and dropping the empty pots to free up the inventory spaces that you're going to need later on whenever we start harvesting the other the seeded plants. So the next step that we're going to do is we're actually going to be teleporting back to a house again, and we're going to be teleporting to Camelot for this next part. So once you actually get to Camelot, we're going to be running east, and we're going to be going to the allotment and herb patches right north of Catherby. If you do have lunars that you can actually teleport a little bit closer, however, it's not that much of a difference to me, and especially for people that are kind of lower level. This is just a simpler way for people to understand where to go. So you're just going to run east from the teleportation, and then from right here, you can actually harvest your allotments right here, and then you can also do your herbs and do all those kind of runs as well. You can't protect any of this. It's not really recommended that you protect any of this. Just the only thing I can note is that if you do harvest certain plants and things, so if I harvest some of these watermelons here, just to kind of show you an example, if your inventory fills up, all you have to do is just use one of the watermelons on the tool leprechaun, and it will automatically note the items for you. So that way you can make sure you never have to really bank too much whenever you're doing these kind of runs. And then the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're actually just going to want to run to the south, and you're actually going to want to run to Brimhaven. And then Brimhaven's actually going to have another tree for you that you can actually patch, another fruit tree. So you're just going to keep running south until you find the charter, and then we're actually going to be chartering the trader crew members. And we're going to be going to Brimhaven. It'll cost a little bit of coins to go there, but it's worth it. So then once we actually go down here, we're going to be just running right to the south, and right off the dock here, you're going to see this next tree. And all you got to do is just run down there to that tree and just make sure you're always paying the person to protect it. Don't forget to pay to protect. I've done it a number of times where I have forgotten to pay to protect them, and it just doesn't work out because a lot of the times it will get diseased and die, and you just lose out on that experience that took a couple of days that you're not going to get now, that you can't get back. So then once you're actually done with that, you're actually going to be going back to Catherby again, and we're actually going to be running east to the fishing area. So if you've ever fished in Catherby, or if you know about the fishing spots that are right east of Catherby at the bank, this is actually where we're going to be running, because there's another fruit tree patch that's actually to the east. And if you are running low on run energy like I am, it is important to note that once you do go back to your house, or you go to someone else's house at the house party world, that we're actually going to be taking a drink at the rejuvenation pool, so that way we can actually restore our run energy instantly without actually having to use anything like energy potions or anything like that. So here's going to be where the papaya tree, or wherever the fruit tree is actually going to be. I have a papaya tree planted here right now. You can actually just pay the farmer to have him chop it down once you've checked the health of it. Just replant and make sure you protect, like I said before. I can't reiterate it enough because of how often I've forgotten to protect things whenever I'm doing this run, especially if it's early in the day or right before I go to bed. So now once we're done with that, we're actually going to just go back to the house again. And then, like I said before, we are pretty low on run energy. So whenever we go back into their house, we're actually going to be just using the ornate rejuvenation pool here to get our run energy back up to full. And now that we have that back up to full, we're going to be going back to Camelot again. But instead of running east this time, we're actually going to be running west. And this is a little bit of a longer part of the run, just because there's no really easy teleport to get here. The only other option that you can actually do is if you have an enchanted lyre, you can actually use that as a teleportation method, but it is going to take another inventory space, which is why I chose to omit it. However, the enchanted lyre will get you a little bit closer to this hops up here, and I do recommend doing the hops just for the money making method of this entire run. Doesn't seem like people don't think that hops are worth that much, but these Genolian hops here, you can usually yield about 12 to 20 on average per hops that you actually do. And each one of these hops, as you can see here at the moment, is worth 1,100 each. So you can actually make quite a bit of money and even break even depending on what trees you're planting just with these hops and these herb runs alone. So I do highly recommend that you do not skip over these just for the money making method of this entire run. And then once you actually have these million hops planted, I do kind of recommend, if you do have any inside of your tool leprechaun, that if you do have altar compost, that you do use the altar compost on your herbs and your hop patches just to boost the yield and to also make sure that they don't get diseased. So if you do have those inside your tool leprechaun, I do recommend using, any kind of compost will work, normal, super, or ultra. The ultra is going to pay off the best, and it actually is not that expensive. So if you do have that in your tool leprechaun, great. But if you don't, it's not that big of a deal. Sometimes they'll get diseased a little bit more, but overall, it's still going to pay off in terms of experience and money. So just do whatever works out best for you for that. Anyways, though, once you actually have that hop patch, we're going to be teleporting with our ectophile. And then really important thing to note is just to make sure that you let your guy refill the ectophile, because if you don't, then you're actually going to have an empty ectophile and you're going to have to run back here manually to be able to refill it. Just one of those things to note, that some people don't realize if you run away too soon that it won't refill it. That's pretty annoying to have to deal with if you've ever had to encounter it before. So we're just going to keep on running over here. We're going to be running west, like I said, and then we're going to be going here. You can get your herbs. You can go ahead and do your watermelons here. And then once you actually have all of that taken care of, if you are doing things like watermelons, you can actually make your own compost. So it's another thing you can kind of use and do while you're doing the run. It does extend the run time a little bit longer. However, if you are doing watermelons, you can go ahead and fill this compost bin up, and you can actually do a compost run as well. And it does kind of pay off a little bit. It is more money, and it's free money essentially because the seeds are so cheap. So you are generating some money this way. However, I just think that there's a little bit faster ways to kind of make money, and I'm just in it for the farming experience. So I don't really think the compost part of it is kind of worth that. I might do it every once in a while just to kind of mix things up. But if it's something that I'm just trying to do the run for that every 4 days or something, and I just want to get it done, I'm not going to mess around with kind of doing that kind of stuff. And then the next step that we're going to be doing is once you are done here in the Port Phasmatis area, you're going to be going ahead and going to use the Chronicle. And the Chronicle is going to actually teleport you to another hop patch that you can do. So you're going to be teleported here. You're going to run to the south a little bit. And then once you are down here, just keep running south a little bit more. And then you'll actually see your next hop patch here. Just go ahead and harvest them. Make sure that if you do fill up your inventory space that you're just using the hops on the tool leprechaun to make sure they get noted. And then after that, we're going to be using the Ardougne cloak, and you're going to be going to the Ardougne farm, and you're going to be doing your herb run and your allotment run right here. And then once you are done with this, you're going to be teleporting back to your house again. Going into the house that has all the items that you're going to need. And it's going to be in the teleportation room. So once you get here, you can just see Xeric's talisman here. You're going to want to teleport to Xeric's glade. And then it's going to take you right here. Alright, and then once you teleport to Xeric's glade, you're going to run to the southwest over here. And you're going to find the next herb and allotment patch run that you can do right here. And once you've completed this run, what you're going to want to do is use your explorer's ring to teleport to the Lumbridge allotment herb area. You just got to run up north once you teleport using it, and you're going to be right up here, and it's going to be really easy to actually teleport and do this run. Now, another option that you can do if you don't have the diaries done is you can teleport back to your house, and you can teleport to Lumbridge and then run up this way. It is a little bit of a run. You can also choose to teleport to Falador and then run down here to do this run. It does take a little bit longer, but it's one of those things that if you haven't done the diary yet and you still want to be able to do some of this run, just kind of think creatively and try to think of ways that you can actually get here. And just make sure that you keep using that rejuvenation pool, so that way you can keep getting your run energy back, so that way you don't have to actually walk anywhere. And then you're going to be teleporting to your house again once you've completed this area. And then this next time we're going to be using one of the jewelry boxes. inside of someone's home or your own home if you have it. And then you're going to be going to the duel arena. Now this part of it actually, if you don't have, if you haven't planted a cactus seed before, you might have to go teleport to Castle Wars or teleport somewhere that has a bank and then go grab the cactus seed and then go ahead and plant the cactus and let it grow. I've already planted the cactus, so this is kind of just part of my run that I do now. So you teleport to the duel arena, and you can actually go and grab the cactus spines. You never have to replace the cactus now once you've got it planted and it's grown. If it's grown successfully, all you have to do is just come over here and pick the actual the plant. All you gotta do is pick it, and you can keep picking it over and over. It's not recommended that you actually dig it up because the experience is not that good for actually growing it. However, you can actually make a pretty decent amount of money just from the actual cactus spines themselves. So I do recommend doing this part of the run as well. And then once you are done with that, you have a couple options here for this one. You're going to want to either use the minigame teleport and go to the nightmare zone like I'm going to do here, or if you have the watchtower quest done, you can teleport to the watchtower as well. That's another option for you. Or if you even have your house inside of Yanil, teleporting to your house and then exiting your house, you can actually get to this patch very quickly that way as well. But we're going to be going to the hot patch that's inside of Yanil, and basically all you have to do is just run. Once you teleport, if you are using the nightmare zone like me, you just run through the main entrance of Yanil. Just run to the west a little bit, you'll see a wheat field, and then right beside that wheat field is going to be the hot patch that you can complete your run in. And then now that once you have completed this part of the run, you're actually going to run back over here to the Yanilian Bank. And you're going to want to bank most of your items. So you're going to be just banking a lot of your items because we're going to be trying to go to Entrana next. So you're going to want to make sure that you deposit all of your items that you can't bring to Entrana with you. And then once you have deposited all your items, your inventory should look pretty similar to mine. However, it might vary a little bit. However, you're just going to want to make sure that you have your 4 items for farming. You're going to want to make sure you have a ring of dueling, your hop seeds that you're going to need to plant hops with, your last tree, regular tree, and then a payment for that protection of that tree, as well as payment for protection of the actual hops. So once you have all of that taken care of, what you're going to want to do is we're actually going to be teleporting to Castle Wars, and this last part of it does require that you've done the quest to be able to use the hot air balloons. So if you haven't did that quest yet, I would recommend just leaving this last part of the run out. And basically what we're going to want to be doing is just running up to the northeast to the hot air balloon, and we're going to be going to Entrana first. So just you have to make sure you click on fly, Entrana, and then it's going to quickly search us, and then it's going to take us here. So then all we have to do is just run right south of the hot air balloon, and you'll find your next hop patch right here. To be able to complete this, make sure that you pay to actually have your hops protected at the farmer. And then once you have that taken care of, what you're going to want to do is just run back up to Francis up here, and we're actually going to be going to Cavalry, and this is going to be pretty much completing the run, because once we are here, we're actually going to be at the last tree patch. You just got to run up to the north here a little bit, and you'll find that the last tree patch is right here, and you're able to pay to chop it down and be able to pay to have it planted and all taken care of. After this, you are able to just go ahead and rub the ring of dueling again, teleport back to Castle Wars, and then your run is actually going to now be completed. Congratulations, and if you followed along this long, I'm extremely appreciative of you guys sticking along and following along with this guide. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or if you guys like this type of content, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.